They said she vanished. They said she ran from the truth. But Remy Ma wasn't just hiding from Papoose. She was hiding everything. After a public DNA scandal and a mystery baby that tore hip-hop's most loyal love apart, Remy disappeared. Without a trace, no Instagram, no shows. Not even a sighting in her own city. Papoose tried everything. Lawyers, calls. Please, silence was all he got in return until he did something no one expected. He hired a private investigator, not just any pie. A retired NYPD insider known for cracking celebrity cheating scandals, underground surrogacy rings, and one case that even exposed a fake marriage for green card status. The mission was simple: find Remy, get the truth. What he uncovered was far from simple. In just 2 weeks, the pie traced Remy Ma to a secluded villa in Lisbon, Portugal. But she wasn't alone. She wasn't grieving. And she definitely wasn't hiding in shame. She was living a new life, new baby, new man, new identity. And tucked inside her European sanctuary were receipts, real documents that blew the original story wide open. We're talking secret adoption records, burner phones, fake hospital footage, and a hidden bank account with over $800,000 in it. Who paid her? Why did she fake the pregnancy? And what deal was she really running behind Papoose's back? Because once the pie found Remy, he also found the truth. And now, so will you. Papoose was done playing nice. After Remy Ma disappeared, following the devastating DNA test drama. The same scandal that questioned not only the paternity of their child, but her maternity. 2, he spent 10 sleepless nights refreshing her socials, calling her old numbers, and texting her friends, who suddenly didn't know anything. Nothing. The woman he waited 6 years for during her prison bid was now ghosting him in real time. He wasn't going to beg anymore. He needed facts. So he made a move he once swore he'd never make. He called in a professional, and not just any investigator. He hired Victor Rossi, a former NYPD detective turned private tracker, infamous for his work with celebrities. He's the guy who exposed that Hollywood actor's secret baby in South Africa. The one who helped blow open the surrogacy scandal of a Grammy-winning R&B diva. The man who doesn't just follow trails, he sets traps. Pap told him everything. The missing weeks during Remy's alleged pregnancy. The vanishing act after the DNA demand. The burner account tweets. And of course, the man Tyrone Hayes spotted too many times holding their child. Victor didn't flinch. He opened his notebook, clicked his pen, and muttered just one thing. If she's alive, I'll find her. Within 48 hours, Victor had done what Pap couldn't in weeks. First, he traced Remy's last known IP address, a cafe in Newark, New Jersey. From there, CCTV caught her boarding a lift that never showed up on her official app. That's when Victor uncovered something big. The lift was booked using a phone number tied to a dummy corporation. And guess what? That corporation had one silent partner listed. Reminisce Mackey. That was all Victor needed. Using international travel logs, he pulled Remy's alias, Sharifa Monet. It was a name she once used in a screenplay project years ago. But now it was connected to a private flight manifest out of JFK destination, Lisbon, Portugal. Victor booked the next plane. Out. 3 days later, he landed on the cobblestone streets of Alfama, the oldest neighborhood in Lisbon. Charming, romantic, the perfect place to disappear. And there she was, Remy Ma. No hoodie, no disguise. Just strolling the quiet lanes with oversized sunglasses and a designer stroller. Pushing the child that had ripped her life apart, Victor took the first photo. Then he followed her. She didn't go to a hotel. She walked into a villa, secluded, gated, luxurious. The mailbox read M. Hayes, the same surname as Tyrone. Bingo, Victor didn't wait. He sent the photo, Remy with the baby, smiling straight to Papoose. Pap didn't reply. He just left him on read. Victor wasn't done. For the next 3 days, he monitored the villa. Tyrone came and went like clockwork. Grocery runs, spa bookings, a nanny rotation. It was clear this wasn't hiding. This was home. And then Victor made his move. He waited until Tyrone left, slipped past the side gate, and walked into an open garden door where a maid was humming with her earbuds in. Inside, he didn't steal. He documented. And what he found was chilling. First, a hospital wristband. It didn't say Reminisce Mackey. It said Sharon Daniels. It's the same name from the Connecticut birth records. It's the same surrogate who had come forward weeks ago. Then, a file folder. Thick, marked Legal Custody International. Inside were court-stamped adoption papers dated before the baby was even born. Papers that named Remy Ma and Tyrone Hayes as intended parents for a child conceived through an unnamed egg. Donor and carried by Sharon Daniels. And that's when Victor realized. Remy Ma never even planned to tell Papoose. This wasn't just a lie born out of panic. It was a premeditated operation. Victor snapped photos of everything. The papers, the bank receipts, the burner phones. Yes, she had two. One marked USA and another labeled strictly Sharon. Both filled with messages to a contact saved as Legal Ghost. One message read, "Keep Pap off the trail. Tell him I'm going through therapy. He won't question that." Another, "He can't know we planned this. It would break him." Too late, Victor gathered the evidence, slid out the same garden door he entered, and disappeared into the Lisbon night. He sent Pap the documents, the photos, the truth. Still no reply. But Pap was watching. A day later, Pap's team froze their joint account. Then came the bomb. A restraining petition filed in New York family court demanding that Remy Ma be barred from traveling with the child until all legal documents were verified and cross-examined. He wanted that baby returned, but there was a problem. Because, under Portuguese law, if Remy legally adopted the child there and filed for sole guardianship through an EU court, Papoose had no automatic rights. Remy had made sure of that. She moved quick. She moved smart. And worst of all, she moved alone. Still, Pap wasn't going out like that. He released one video, black background, a Tim at a mic. No auto-tune, just truth. I begged for a family. You scripted one? I asked for honesty. You handed me contracts, and now you hide behind passports and silence? Nah, that ain't it. Not for me. Not for my daughter, whoever she really belongs. 2. The internet exploded. Comments flooded in. She planned it all. WTF. That poor man just wanted the truth. She stole a baby to save her marriage. People were divided. Some still defended Remy, claiming mental stress or heartbreak. Others called it outright manipulation. But one thing everyone agreed on. Victor Rossi found her. And what she was hiding was way bigger than just a DNA test. And still, Remy stayed quiet. No post. No denial. Just photos from Lisbon, her and Tyrone in a market. Her at a private beach with the child sipping sangria. Like she wasn't at the center of hip-hop's most nuclear scandal. But what no one knew yet was that there was one more document Victor hadn't shared publicly. One more receipt. A letter. Sealed in a private folder. Handwritten, labeled. To Papoose. He scanned it, sent it to Pap. The letter began, "I knew you'd hate me. I knew this would destroy you. But I couldn't take another loss. I couldn't face you without something to give back. So I gave you a child, even if she wasn't ours. She became real the moment you held her. And I don't regret it, but I am sorry." And then came the final line. The one that broke Victor's composure, even after years of scandal work. "You were always the real father. Just not by blood." The letter shook him. Papoose. Read Remy's words a dozen times. The handwriting, the raw emotion, the quiet desperation laced between each sentence. It didn't make the betrayal easier. In fact, it cut deeper, because she wasn't just hiding the truth. She was justifying it. You were always the real father, just not by blood. That line echoed in his head for days. He'd memorized it before he even realized he had. It replayed when he woke up, when he picked up the baby's old onesie, when he stared at the crib he hadn't had the heart to dismantle yet. But then something, no courts, just cash. And Malik Howard, aka Tyrone Hayes, was listed as a liaison and facilitator. Suddenly, Remy Ma's adoption wasn't just shady. It might have been illegal. Victor forwarded the documents immediately. Birth records, business licenses, court flags. And that's when it all started clicking. Remy didn't just hire Tyrone to help with the adoption. She might have partnered with him. One of the documents recovered from the Lisbon villa showed a wire transfer from an anonymous Delaware LLC to Tyrone's offshore account totaling $385,000. The payment note: consultation plus delivery coordination. Delivery, as in a baby. This wasn't just an affair. This was an operation. And Remy Ma wasn't running from shame. She was running from prosecution. Pap sat in silence. It had been 17 days since Remy vanished. And now he had proof the man she was living with had a criminal past in black market surrogacy. So what did he do? He went public. Pap called an emergency press conference. Not with lawyers, not with industry friends. Just him and Victor, standing on the steps of family court, gripping evidence folders with one message. This isn't about revenge. This is about protection, not just for me, but for that baby. He handed out flash drives to the media. Every document Victor found, every receipt, even the hospital band with Sharon Daniels' name. And then he dropped the bomb. I am filing for full custody of this child on the grounds of fraud, abandonment, and exploitation. I loved this child before I knew the truth. Kay and I will fight to protect her now that I do. Mic drop. The internet exploded. People who had been skeptical flipped overnight. Even some of Remy's old supporters posted things like, "She crossed the line. This is criminal now. That baby is not a pawn. This ain't just heartbreak anymore." Pap went from victim to hero. Even Cardi B reposted the press conference with the caption, "I stand with Pap. Always did. Always will." Remy Ma still quiet, no post, no video, no clapback. But inside sources revealed she was in panic mode. Because word on the street was Interpol had been notified. And they weren't playing. Victor's sources inside EU law enforcement confirmed that Malik Howard's aka Tyrone Hayes' name had triggered a red flag when the baby's passport was processed. Portugal had opened an investigative file. And Remy Ma, though not officially charged, was under surveillance. But here's the twist. That surveillance paid off. Victor received a call from a journalist in Lisbon who had been staking out Remy's villa. He said he spotted a man entering the house late at night. A man with a briefcase, clean suit, American accent, no greetings, all business. Victor ran facial recognition through dark web tools. The man, Andrew McKellar, a lawyer tied to 3 previous adoption fraud cases, 1 in New York, 2 in California, all quietly settled. All linked to the same Delaware LLC that had wired money to Tyrone. That was the final nail. The Lisbon villa wasn't a hideout. It was headquarters. Now Pap had to make a decision. Should he go all the way? Should he file an international criminal complaint? The answer came from an unlikely source, Sharon Daniels, the surrogate. She came forward again, this time with video proof. A secret phone recording of her conversation with Remy from Nami. "A clinic office? Are you sure he won't find out?" Remy had asked. "Not unless you tell him," Sharon replied. "He's too good of a man. He'll still love the child. Then why not be honest? Because if he finds out the baby isn't mine, he'll leave me." That video dropped on a Tuesday. And by Wednesday morning, Remy Ma's legal team released a statement. It was short, but it was explosive. Ms. Mackey acknowledges that key facts in the child's birth were withheld. She maintains that her intent was not criminal, but emotional. She will comply with any future investigations and requests for custody reviews. Translation: she folded. Papoose, however, wasn't finished. In court documents filed 2 days later, he formally requested sole guardianship revocation of all parental claims by Remy Ma, a motion to block Tyrone K's from leaving the country with the child, and a referral to federal authorities for adoption. Fraud investigation, but here's the part that broke everyone's heart. In a personal letter attached to the case file, Pap wrote, "I don't care who created her. I care who raised her. I may not be her father by biology, but I was her protector. From the moment I held her, I still am." That letter leaked, and it broke the internet. Meanwhile, in Lisbon, Remy Ma was photographed for the first time since the scandal, wearing all black, holding the baby tightly, eyes behind sunglasses, lips pressed shut. Beside her, Tyrone, or should we say Malik, was on the phone, visibly stressed, pacing with urgency. Sources say they were preparing to leave the villa. Some believe they were trying to flee. But the story wasn't done yet, because on that very same day, Portugal issued an official court summons for both Remy and Tyrone, demanding their presence in a custody-related fraud hearing set for 10 days later. And if they failed to appear, they'd be declared in contempt of court, triggering international warrants. The heat was on, but Pap, he stayed calm. In his last social media post before the next court date, he stood beside the crib. No caption, just silence. And the sound of a music box playing in the background, the same one he bought for his daughter before the scandal hit. Despite everything, he still hoped that maybe, just maybe, that child could still be his family, even if the world tried to take her away. It was the day the entire hip-hop world had been waiting for. The Lisbon court hearing, V1, that could decide the future of the baby. The one that could land Remy Ma and Tyrone, or rather Malik Howard, in prison. The Portuguese media was outside the courthouse before sunrise. Reporters from the U.S. had flown in. The scene looked more like a red carpet than a legal proceeding, except instead of glamour, there was tension. And at exactly 9:04 a.m., she arrived. Remy Ma in a dark gray pantsuit, hair slicked back, baby in arms, surrounded by legal advisors. Tyrone trailed closely behind, phone in hand, whispering to a man who looked too nervous to be anyone but his lawyer. The courtroom filled quickly. But one person was missing, Papoose. People began whispering, "Is he not coming? Did he give up? Maybe he already knows how this ends." But then the door creaked, and Papoose walked in, alone, calm, focused. No lawyers, no drama, no theatrics, just him. And a sealed manila envelope tucked under his arm. Remy didn't look at him. Tyrone wouldn't even breathe in his direction. But the judge, she looked, ready for war. The hearing began with statements from both sides. Remy's lawyer insisted there was no malice in her actions. She acted from emotional distress. She believed the child would anchor a collapsing marriage. There was no monetary exchange beyond surrogacy compensation. Her actions may have lacked transparency, but they were not criminal. Then came the government's turn. An EU official presented evidence linking Malik Howard to multiple covert surrogacy transactions, 2 of which resulted in lawsuits in Morocco, and one in Spain that led to a baby being trafficked without legal documentation. The courtroom gasped. Tyrone's lawyer interrupted. "My client denies any criminal activity. He was a facilitator, not a trafficker." But the judge wasn't buying it. She had copies of wire transfers, contracts, and even voice notes Victor Rossi had obtained showing Tyrone coaching a surrogate to stay quiet during birth registration. And then it was Papoose's turn. He stepped forward, slowly unfolded the envelope. pulled out a single photo. It was of him holding the baby, his hand over her chest, her eyes closed. It's peaceful. I didn't come here to point fingers. I came here to protect that child. I came here because everyone else saw her as a transaction. I saw her as my daughter. He paused. I looked straight at Remy for the first time. She finally glanced back just for a second. I may not be her father by blood, but I'm the only man who's ever loved her without a condition. And if that counts for nothing in this court, then shame on all of us. Silence. Even the stenographer looked shaken. Then came the shocker. Victor Rossi entered the courtroom with new evidence, fresh, just discovered the night before. A Portuguese doctor who had originally certified the baby's birth had come forward anonymously. He admitted to being paid under the table to list false parent names on the birth certificate. The real mother. Not Sharon Daniels, not Remy Ma, not anyone they expected. No baby, no entourage, just her. You weren't supposed to find out like this. Pap didn't even flinch. How was I supposed to find out? When she turned 16 and started asking questions, Remy looked exhausted. You don't know what it feels like to lose everything and still want to make something feel real? He turned slowly. No, I just know what it's like to be real and have someone fake their way through everything beside me. A pause. You used that baby to fill the hole you made when you stopped trusting me, and now you want sympathy? Remy's eyes watered. I wanted a life with you, even if I had to build it out of broken pieces. Then you should have picked love, not lies. She didn't respond. She walked back inside. When court resumed, the judge made her ruling. Malik Howard was to be detained for investigation into illegal adoption trafficking. Remy Ma's custody claim was suspended indefinitely pending criminal review. The baby was placed under temporary EU protective care to be evaluated by Child Welfare Services, and most importantly, Papoose was granted supervised visitation rights as the child's primary emotional guardian. It wasn't full custody, but it was a win. More than that, it was validation. The aftermath came fast. Back in the U.S., headlines buried Remy Ma. Her brand deals gone. Her LHH contract terminated. Public opinion collapsed. Meanwhile, Papoose was flooded with support. Charlemagne gave him a full Breakfast Club segment. Fat Joe posted a throwback of their wedding with the caption, "He deserved better, period." And that baby. She was flown back to the U.S. under protective supervision, placed in the care of a legal guardian, until her biological mother could be located. But she saw Papoose twice a week. And every time she smiled when he walked in, his heart cracked and healed at the same time. 3 months later, Melanie Cruz was found in Colombia. Papoose requested a meeting. They met in a quiet cafe in Bogota. She spoke through tears, through broken English, and through a translator. I didn't want to give her up. I was desperate. They lied, said she'd go to a good home. She almost did, Papoose said softly, and she still might. They talked for 2 hours. She told him the baby's real name. It wasn't Mackenzie. It wasn't Reminis Jr. It was Sophia Elena Cruz. And Pap promised to make sure she never forgot it. 1 year later, Papoose adopted her legally. Remy Ma, living off the grid. Some say Dubai, some say Switzerland. Others say she changed her name again. She hasn't spoken publicly since. Tyrone or Malik is still facing extradition. Victor Rossi wrote a book tracking Remy, the case that broke hip-hop's heart. It's already a bestseller, and Papoose. He's back in the studio. His next album is titled Blood Ain't Always Love. Track 1, Sophia's Song. This story wasn't just another celebrity scandal, was a devastating unraveling of trust, identity, and the darkest side of love. From secret surrogacies to international warrants, what started as a broken marriage turned into a global manhunt for the truth. So now we turn it over to you. Do you think Remy Ma should be forgiven? Or has she crossed a line no apology can fix? Should Papoose have kept fighting or walked away the moment he learned the baby wasn't biologically his? And what about Sophia? Does biology even matter when someone has already stepped into the role of a loving parent? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Every opinion matters. We're watching and the world is listening. And don't think this is the end. Our team is already digging into the next chapter. Where is Remy Ma now? What's happening with Tyrone's court case? And has Papoose finally found peace, or is there another twist just waiting to break? Subscribe right now and turn on notifications, because the next update is already on the way. Trust us, it's bigger than anything you've seen so far. Stay with us here on LeakFlix, where secrets break first and truth never stays buried. Like, comment, subscribe, because this story is far from over.